me something from this slide and from what I have just told you. What is it that I have that nobody else has got? Okay, what is it that you have, sir, that nobody else has got? You also have the same thing, but nobody else has got it. It's only yours and yours alone. Everybody's got their share of this particular thing alone. What would that be? Name, sir, can be actually duplicated. There could be, other Aruns. Arun's actually a very common name in Tamil Nadu. I have to tell my parents. Can't do that now. Too late. Yeah, not a name, something more. Perspectives? Who said that? Sir, from that table. Perspectives. Okay, perspectives is one. Where do perspectives come from? Experience. Fantastic. In this job which has got 3 floors and 300 people on each floor, and it could be any company, any hospital, any engineering firm, anywhere. You're the first day in the job. You will probably not even eat your lunch because you will not know where you can eat your lunch. You will not know where you can wash those vessels later on. You will not have tea because nobody's told you tea is there. You're just like that. Now, more difficult for the soldier because he is about 18 or 17 and he comes into a unit which has got about 1,000 soldiers, all bigger and stronger than him from different parts of the country. They don't speak his language. He doesn't know anything. In your case, at least at 5:30, you will get into the bus and go home. In his case, he lives there with them. There is no out. This soldier was different. Instead of looking nervous and anxious, when he came, he would be like this. He stood like this. He talked like this. He behaved like this. There was a great balance about him. There was what is called gravitas. There was maturity. There was substance. He was just a different kind of a soldier. Within 3 or 4 days, he started showing us why he is special. So because of his bearing and the way he carried himself, he was very good at drill, which is very important for a very young soldier. So he started getting importance. The moment he got importance, the rest of the 7 soldiers who joined with him started looking at him like this. So what happened? This is the birth of a leader that was taking place. Did somebody give him a title? No. Did somebody change his contract? No. Did he have a designation? No. It is just by behavior. So that's the first lesson. A leader becomes a leader by his or her behavior, not because somebody gives them a title. Titles can make you positional leaders. They will not make you real leaders. Because that title goes away, then your leadership goes away. So real leaders get made like this. He was very good at sport. He was very physically fit. Everybody wants to win a competition. We are very, very fiercely competitive people. All of us are. And in the army even more so. Because it's a matter of great pride. So everybody wants to do well. Now what happens is, when you were walking, it started raining. In the rain, something very simple and silly happens. All your equipment gets wet and becomes twice its weight. So what was 30, 35 kilos becomes 60, 65, 70 kilos. And it's disgusting. Your shoes are wet, your underclothing is wet, your clothes are wet, everything is wet. You can do nothing. You just can't do nothing. Because if you hide from the rain, you're going slow, you stop, you get jacked there. So you keep walking, you're plunging along, cursing everybody, from everybody to everybody. So when we were doing this, we saw a shepherd. He also had 2 pack mules, jungle ponies, mules. So what happens when you're IIT 13? Good brain, but also a very clever and crooked go side by side. They're like twins. It depends which side you want to look at. So the crooked one said, these horses are going khali. Why am I like a fool carrying 40 kilos, 45 kilos? Let me take it off, put it on that. I'll give him 100 rupees. He will carry. We're only 6 of us. Only 6. So 6 packs on that mule. We'll give him 100 rupees or 200 rupees and he will walk 5-6 kilometers. We'll get refreshed. We'll carry it and bloody run and we'll win. That's cheating. It's lack of integrity. It's dishonest. It's all of the above. Everything one should not be. But the idea came to my mind. I have to be honest. I took off my pack and I put it first on the mule. 4 other Jawans put it, one Jawan did not put it. He stood like that. He was the youngest Jawan on our team, yet he did not take off his pack and put it there. He was as tired as any of us. I was just a little older than him. I must have been 21 and he would have been 18 and a half or so. The senior most member of our team was a Havaldar, somebody who wears 3 stripes on the uniform. He was the oldest. So he also probably got the most tired and he abused him for not, cheating along with us. That's the truth. So what do you think I felt at that time? The first thing I felt was shame. I was ashamed that as an officer, I had flouted the laws of integrity which I shouldn't have flouted, but I did. The second thing I saw was the level of integrity in that soldier, which I didn't have. So for me, that was 2 big slaps on my face. One was shame, second was a lack of integrity, which is not acceptable. So reluctantly, we all took off our packs and put them on again. I also cursed him a little bit, and then we walked. Next day, we had halted at one place, and when we resumed our journey, we got up and as is our drill, we checked, all the equipment, do we have everything. That old Havaldar, who cursed and shouted at him loudly yesterday, suddenly said, "Sahab, radio set reh gaya," which means I'm missing my radio set. That is sacrilege. Sacrilege, because in war, if you lose your radio set, 2 things happen. You can't communicate with your teams. 2, if the enemy picks up your radio set, they can listen to everything that is happening around. So you cannot lose it. Now, as far as the competition is concerned, if we finish without the radio set, we are disqualified. And last but not the least, we can't go without the radio set because the commanding officer will send you back to look for it. Competition or no competition. So we don't leave anything back, in short. Now, we were all sitting there and this guy said, "I don't have the radio set." We had to run to finish the competition. Don't have the radio set means you can't run there. We were tired, we were angry, we were hungry, we were frustrated. Because he was a very senior, 3-striper, none of us could scold him also. When we were sitting and thinking for a fraction of a second, the young soldier stands up and says, "Sahab, main jata hu." Which means, "Sir, I will go and look for the radio set." Second day, second lesson in leadership. He had, without conveying physically or verbally, he told us what selflessness means. He told us what bonding means. He told us what camaraderie means. He told us what it means to do something for another member of the team. And nobody had asked him. Now that same NCO who yesterday had scolded him had lost an equipment, and the chap who was scolded was willing to go and help him. That is the beauty of leadership. When you reach out to people who didn't expect it, that is when you make instant followers. So in that fraction of a second, that NCO, that Havaldar, who had about 18 years of service, suddenly found a leader in a young Jawan who had about 3 months of service. That is how leadership works. It does not sit in corner offices and air-conditioned rooms. You will see it on the corridors of your office space. You have to look for it. So we all went, we found that radio set, we came back, we finished the competition and we won. But I told the story of young Zamindar Khan, that was his name, to everybody in the unit. So overnight, this young soldier became a hero. And once he became a hero, his posture became better. This was the process of burnishing. This is what happens when you get a young officer or a management trainee in a company and polish that person. You etch the edges of the diamond so that the diamond becomes looking like a diamond. After all, there is not much difference between a diamond and just hard pressed charcoal. It's the cut, the pressure and the temperature to which it's subjected. So this was what was happening, and I was seeing the birth of an outstanding leader. 2 months later, he was going on leave. For his mother, he wanted to buy, in those days, sir would remember, the seniors here would remember, there were only 2 watch companies in India. Ma'am, what's your watch? Which brand is? Wow. You don't even wear a watch? Awesome. You must be a boss in the office. You ask people, time kya ho raha hai? What's, okay. Sir, what watch do you wear? No. How many watches do you have? Baba. So obviously Star pays very well. Okay. So there were only two watch companies in India. HMT and Alvin. Everything else came later. We have something called a military canteen. All of you all would have heard about it. In the canteen, if you wanted to buy a lady's watch, you had to book for it. In a register, your name was written and your demand was sent to the HMT factory and the watches were supplied. This was for a lady's watch. The watch brand name was Kajal. HMT Kajal. That's what he wanted to buy for his mother. He also wanted to buy for her one Sumit Mixi. And I remember making fun of him. I told him, in your village there's no bloody electricity. Why are you buying a Mixi? So he said, sir, whenever electricity comes, I want my mother to be the first person to get a Mixi in the village. That is the relationship we in the army have with our families. This is the relationship we try and create in our units. Sir, you're asking me how bonding happens. This is one way how bonding happens. We try and make it happen. We don't always succeed, but where we do, it is spectacular. So, this is what he wanted to do. For his father, he wanted to buy black patent leather shoes, which you don't need to polish. Just wipe with a cloth, the shiny leather shoes. So we used to talk. He became a good friend of mine because we are not much difference in age. Although I was an officer and he was a Jawan. He was to go home and I got a call from the station master, small railway station, at about 5 in the evening, 5:30. He said, sir, thank you very much for the help. The fire has been put out. Now, I paused for a moment because I had not sent any help. So I didn't know what he was talking about. But he said, fire in the station, that is a crisis. So I said, okay. I got hold of what we call a quick reaction team, which also has a doctor and a vehicle. And I rushed to the station. Now when I reached the station, it was a hall longer than this, not as wide as this. So it is a station with only two tracks. One platform, two tracks, and one small tea shop, station master's office, and this waiting hall. So the fire was from the tea shop, I think, but when I reached there, the single fire engine of this town had sprayed water and the fire had been doused. But the entire place was black and filled with acrid smoke. So when I came in, I couldn't enter. We had to actually take out our handkerchief and put it in water and put it on our nose. So when I entered, I saw from what looked like the roof, water would drip, suddenly land on something hot and there'd be a sizzle. Electric wires were hanging, they would touch each other and there would be a spark. Fully black it was, nothing I could see. Till we actually trained our eyes, I saw a door at the far side. And just when I was about to step in, I saw somebody coming out of the door with a package in his hand like this. It's called a baby carry. In our physical fitness drill, you pick up somebody from under the knees and under the neck like that. Came forward and I saw that it was Zamindar Khan. So I took the package from his hand, and before I could speak to him anything else, he said, "Saab aur hai," and he ran back inside. Now, a QRT had only 12 people. Now, of the 12, by our teaching, we are supposed to deploy people around the place of the fire so that nobody comes inside and nothing goes outside. It's called picketing. So there were only 2-3 people next to me. So we managed to take this package to the doctor in the vehicle. Turned out to be a 23 or 24-year-old lady, unconscious but unharmed. I left her there and I came back here, and through the door I saw him struggling out again. This time he carrying a very small package, with distinctly a child. Turned out that it was not a child, it was an infant. I mean, the difference between child and infant, maybe about 7 or 8 months. In the darkness, in the absence of orders, in the absence of guidance, in the absence of what we would call formal education or training, in the face of great danger to himself, in the middle of that fire, while he was sitting in the train waiting to go home. The train was full of passengers, probably about 1,000 of them. Indian trains have about 1,000 people. Nobody got up except this one man. 19 years old, man, boy, what do you want to call him? More man than most others. One man left everything in that train, came here, went inside. He had the sense to, I don't know, use a tablecloth, use a curtain, use a bed sheet. Some cloth he's used, he's made it wet in the bucket in the bathroom and covered that baby head to toe like a mummy. In fact, that baby was unconscious because she was unable to breathe for some time. And then the doctor revived that baby, and that baby was, not one hair on the baby's head was burnt or even singed. But when I saw him, he was visibly injured. His left hand was full of blood. His right head had an injury on the left of his head, and the left side was fully bleeding in his shirt. But before I could ask him, he said, "Saab, awaaz aur hai," and he ran back inside. So we put this baby there, and I came back here. That's the time I wanted to go back inside, but probably for a second I didn't. But when I decided to go inside, there was a rafter from the roof which fell on one of our jawans. So we had to rescue him as well. He didn't get much injured, but it just fell on his shoulder. But by the time we did that, I saw him struggling out of that door again, this time with a package on his shoulder. So he came here, and I saw that his hand was quite badly burnt. His head was injured, not as much burnt, but his face seemed burnt, or in the blood I couldn't see much. So we took this package, went to the doctor in the ambulance. That turned out to be an old lady. So in a window of about 45 minutes from when the fire was detected and put out, this man of 19 years old had rushed out from his train, crossed the platform, got into the burning waiting room. One by one evacuated 3 people who happened to be a grandmother, daughter and granddaughter. All 3 walked out of our hospital, that ambulance van, in about 2 hours of being brought inside. They walked out, literally. When he gave me the 3rd package, he fell down there. That is when I saw his hand. Below the elbow, there was no flesh. There was just no flesh. There were just 2 white bones. White as in white bones. His left hand was almost skeletal. There was little skin stuck here and there. Everything had got burnt. His face seemed to have more injuries than burns, but I couldn't make that out. So when we put him into the vehicle, the only thing he told me was, "Saab, ghar pe mat batana. Don't tell them at home." And the ambulance went away. 2 days later, he died. He died because his left hand was completely gone. His lungs were burnt inside from inhaling all that carbon monoxide or whatever it was, high temperature gas. His head injuries were actually both burn and injuries, both. So in our units, we don't let anybody go home unaccompanied. Since I was both his friend and a young officer, I volunteered to and was asked also to accompany him. The commanding officer gave me only one instruction: people at home should not see his body. That was the instruction, because he was quite badly disfigured and burnt. So we went by a combination of train and matador van. There were no sumos also those days, matador van. And we went to his village. His village is in the western district of Rajasthan, district called Badmer, village called KKB, Khalifon ki Baudi, village of hamlet of 40 houses. When I reached that village is when I realized the power of Zamindar Khan and his family. To me, it seemed like the entire full Chennai city had gathered there for the burial. That is the number of people who had come. Not so many, but there would have probably been about 1,000 people. But for a hamlet of 40 people, 1,000 is a very large number. Since I got these instructions, I had passed ahead that we would like to do the burial the moment I reach. Because I was asked I was ordered that the family should not see the mortal remains. So we took him straight to the burial ground. And this is the westernmost district of India. If you see the India map, you see Rajasthan, you keep going, till you reach almost the Pakistan border. That's where the village is. So if you looked west, you saw Pakistan. That is where it is. So it was the time of the Maghrib. Does anybody know what the Maghrib is? Sorry? Evening Naka? Yeah, so it is the third or the fourth prayer? Correct. So a devout Muslim is supposed to pray 5 times, correct? 5 times you're supposed to offer namaz. The fourth prayer is called the Maghrib. It is always at about sunset. It is related to sunset. And then there is one just pre-dinner, about 8ish or so. So it was a time of Maghrib. As we were planning, about to lower the casket into the grave, in front we could see the western sky. The sun was about to set, just about to set. And on the sky, you could see colors like this. Please step out of your office and see the sunset in Chennai. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Go to Napier Bridge and see it setting behind the High Court. It's brilliant. And on a good day, you will see all kinds of colors. You will see a beautiful grey. You will see a beautiful magenta. You will see a pink. You will see a crimson. You will see an orange. If the sun is still up, you will see a gold. You will see a yellow. And if the sky is blue, you will see a blue of the sky. If there are some clouds, you will see white. You will see dark grey. All of these in one frame. So when you actually see a sky that is so resplendent in colors, it seemed to me that all the gods in heaven had gathered there to bid Zamindar Khan farewell. That is what it seemed to me. You don't see normal skies like this. Now as that was happening, the casket is being lowered. I am looking at the sky there. From the village, the Molvi was giving out the azan. Azan is the call for prayer. Now, if you listen very carefully and if the azan is done well, the sound on the ear of a good azan is exactly like a Shivastuti or a Bhajagovindam or a Vishnu Sahasranamam or whatever it is that you like to listen to, or like the Shabad Kirtan of a Gurdwara, or like the bells of a church in the morning. It's as pure. Now the sun was setting there, the sky was like this. We were lowering the casket into the grave and you could hear the sound of the azan. No better farewell for any human being. But when we were lowering the casket, his mother came out of the crowd and held my shirt and pulled it. The anguish of a mother, only mothers know. It doesn't mean that fathers don't know, but mother's anguish is a mother's anguish. She came, pulled my uniform, broke 2 of my buttons in that grief. And she asked me, Mara kaise? How did he die? That's all she wanted to know. And that's what I was not supposed to tell her. That is when I realized where Zamindar Khan got his gravitas from. Now, Zamindar Khan was about 6 inches taller than me. His father was 6 inches taller than Zamindar Khan. Also retired as a Jawan from my own unit. So he stepped forward. First he consoled his wife, put her behind. Now I am the officer there. It's my job to be able to consoling the others. But there it was a retired soldier who was consoling me. So first he consoles his wife, takes her aside, put his hand on my shoulder. He tells me in Hindi, and I will tell you in Hindi and translate. He says, Koi baat nahi sahab. ये मत बताओ जमींदार खान मरा कैसे, ये बताओ जमींदार खान जिया कैसे. So the simple lesson is that we will all die. How have we lived? So ladies and gentlemen of Star Health, whether you like it or no, whether you want it or no, whether you're aware of it or no, you are currently leaving a legacy in your house, in your society, in your colony, in your office. That legacy is being formed as you sit here and listen to me.